What is going on with that? Lachey 10 at checkout, extra 10% off of your order. It is durable. It's definitely like one of those effortless scrunches where they are stitched in. You guys, I'm not gonna hold you. I was never the biggest Vital Seamless girl, but I was intrigued. So we're gonna get into a whole, full, detailed, very honest, raw review of the newest collection dropping at Gymshark, the Vital Sculpt. So as always, I'll be sure to put all of the details in the description box below so you guys can get in on the launch, which is happening May 8th at 2 p.m. EST. And of course, if you guys would like to support me directly, you like these reviews, you find them helpful, especially before launch, then you guys can also use Lachey 10 at checkout and it will get you guys an extra 10% off of your order. I have a few of the items here. I have almost all of the colors that are coming out. There's going to be 4 colors coming in this collection. I have the names here. The only one I don't have is Strong Gray Marl, and that one is kind of like a tealish gray, kind of like on the medium dark scale. There's going to be the Velocity Red Marl, the black, as well as the Electric Blue Marl. So I will like to point out that the red, ironically enough, the word Marl is in the name. This is not a Marl at all. And then the black. These are going to be the 2 colors that are going to be solids. Very opaque, very bright. I freaking love that they have these solid colors out. And then the Strong Gray Marl and then this Electric Blue are going to be the 2 colorways that have the marling that we're used to seeing in the Vital Seamless. So if you like Marl, or you don't like Marl, there's going to be options for you guys. So let's just go ahead and get into this review. I have some nice things to say. I have some it's not for me type of things to say, but I also want to give you guys recommendations as always on the fit, the sizing. Compare the old Vital Seamless 2.0, not the original Vital. If you've been here for a long time, you know that the 2.0 is a little bit different than the original. I actually experienced the original Vital Seamless back in 2020. It was one of the first pair of leggings that I ever got my hands on when I was getting into my fitness journey, and I really liked it. And I realize now, like, why did I like Vital then, but I don't love it now? There's just so many other amazing fire collections, especially as of recent, that Gymshark has been dropping. We just had the Soft Sculpt come out. We also had the Apex come out in 2 different variations. You already know how I feel about the Adapt Animal with the scrunch butt and the Adapt Fleck. Like, there's just so many amazing collections that I love now versus Vital Seamless. And when I was buying Vital Seamless, the original, I was skinny. I had slim thighs. I was very like skinny in the waist area. I was also buying size small. And now, since I've been on a weight gain journey, I have thicker thighs. I have a little bit more glute as well on me, and then I'm still in between sizes. I have a small waist and a medium body on the bottom half of me, so proportionally it just doesn't fit how Vital used to fit me back in 2020. So I do feel, in my own personal opinion, Vital Seamless is for a certain specific person, and I feel like Gymshark is really good about giving us a collection for everyone's needs and personal preference and workout style or lifestyle choices. So I do feel if you are slimmer in the thigh area, if you have a smaller glute space, like your butt isn't as big, if you will, I think Vital is going to be for you, like the new Vital Sculpt. So I have this beautiful red color. It is so nice. This material is so different than the Vital Seamless 2.0. It's softer, it has way more stretch to the fabric, and it's definitely more like sweat wicking, I will say. I will also point out, I never thought Vital was as breathable compared to other collections like Adapt, in my opinion, because Adapt is ribbed. This is not. If I had to compare this to any other collection at Gymshark, there is no comparison. It really is a whole new material that I didn't even know what to expect when I heard that they were coming out with an updated version. So it is a little bit thinner. than Vital Seamless 2.0. I will say if you are a fan of Vital Seamless, you will probably be obsessed with this. It's definitely more like skin. It is softer on the body. It definitely molds better to the body as well. There's also a slight tapering to the waistband on this version of the Vital, which is nice. I always felt like the more that I wear my Vital Seamless during my workouts, I was sweating, I was moving around, the waistband would stretch out and then it would pull away from my body. And this one on the shorts actually sits lower on my waist as far as the rise. So I do really like the shorter rise on the shorts. So I will insert the measurements here. Let's get into some comparisons, you guys. Right off the bat, I have the Vital Sculpt on top and then I have the Vital Seamless 2.0 on the bottom. I'm just noticing how squared off the waistband was. These are both size medium, by the way, versus the new Vital Sculpt is a little bit more tapered here at the waistband. It's also shorter in width as well. So I'll give you guys the measurements there. And I feel like this is definitely more compressed, still really stretchy of a waist, equally as thick as the Vital Seamless 2.0. So I wanted to kind of mention that. I do feel if in between size up, that's my recommendation if you guys are in between sizes. If you are true to size, definitely go true to size. And I'm also noticing here, just by lining these up, the Vital Sculpt is shorter than the Vital Seamless 2.0. Personally, I'm not a fan because I already thought the 2.0 was short, especially if you are a girl like me with thicker thighs and bigger glutes, because this bottom seam was always kind of snug and squeezed me on my leg area. Like the leg opening was always tight. Same goes for the Vital Sculpt, okay? Still really stretchy, but where this stitch runs all the way around, that's where it can kind of pinch in. So I think these are best for a girl that has a more petite figure, maybe smaller glute space, slimmer thighs, because of the leg opening and how it fits. Also, if you have shorter legs, you might appreciate the shorter inseam. Personally, for me, it's too short. It feels like my booty cheeks are hanging out and it's cutting in all the wrong places, and the rolling obviously is gonna happen there, and I get a lot of chafing on a short that is thicker material but also really short inseam. So I wanted to kind of flat lay the comparisons on what I noticed off the bat. And then on the back of the Vital Sculpt, you guys know Vital Seamless 2.0 is such a classic collection at Gymshark. There was really not a whole lot going on. Of course, you had some cool little dotting, like a contour effect. Some colors are more visible than others. This one on this colorway is a little bit more tonal. There's no scrunch, but there was always a faux seam. This, you know, it doesn't really separate as well as, let's say, like Adapt Fleck, because this material is a lot thicker. I personally find 2.0 to be a little bit stiffer versus the original Vital, if you guys were lucky enough to be around to try that out, like back in 2020. So I'm not really a fan of the stiffness of this fabric because it does give unibutt and it's hard for the material to really separate and stay in between the cheeks. So that was always a con with this Vital Seamless in my personal opinion. Also, the shortness of the inseam was always something I personally was never a fan of. I do wear Vital Seamless shorts over the leggings because I like to wear them under my sweats. But what I don't like is because this fabric is, it's an odd fabric. It stretches out maybe an hour into my workout when you sweat a little bit. I experience a lot of bunching and just a lot of stretch in the rise. It's ultra high rise fit on me, and it just stretches out and loosens up and then really loosens up on the waistband when you wear it for a couple of hours. So the fit was always a little bit weird on me, and even worse in the leggings for my body type and my proportions as someone, again, with thicker thighs, someone that has a smaller waist and no torso. Like, it just, girl, it does not compare to Adapt Animal. Okay, so that's one thing that I wanted to mention is why I'm not the biggest Vital girl, and also compare the back of the new Vital Sculpt to the Vital Seamless 2.0. So they got rid of the faux seam and they added this scrunch. The scrunch is a very different scrunch, if you guys will see. It is not the same scrunch that we have on the Adapt. As you can tell, this one is way closer to the inner thigh, so like right where the gusset kind of is, although there is no gusset. So I wanted to point out there's 2 vertical seams here. Same thing with this, okay? But you could tell the scrunch on the Adapt animal is sitting lower, which on me is so much more flattering, and you guys will see that in the try on portion. It's also a skinnier and longer scrunch. So it doesn't go all the way up your back, but it sits perfectly and ends at the top of my crack. I know that's a little TMI, but this is the best scrunch, in my personal opinion, that Gymshark has. And I'll show you the inside of the scrunch. So it's one of the ones that's sewn in. I personally have never popped a scrunch. It is very durable on the Adapt animal. So when I looked at this scrunch, I was like, what is going on with that? It is almost in the middle of the back of the leggings. So I wish they would have made the same scrunch that they did on the Adapt animal, because it is skinnier, it sits lower, and it's a little bit longer. So I find that it actually pulls the material and keeps it in between the cheeks, versus this one almost has like, you could tell this rippling effect. You can almost see that when it's on the body. And because this is so short and you try to hike up the material in between the cheeks, one, you lose a lot of the inseam length because it's already really short, but it doesn't really stay in place as well as the Adapt animal scrunch because it is so short, and it almost just lays on top of the glutes. So it's not the most flattering on my body type. I would say this would be really good if you are, again, a petite person. I think it would fit your body type. I think maybe my glutes are just too big for this because there's not a lot of space for your glutes, my glutes at least, to really sit in here and for me to feel comfortable with this inseam. So I wanted to compare all 3 of these options so you guys could kind of see the differences there. If you are someone that likes the Adapt animal and you're a ride or die for Adapt animal like me, this is not like that. This scrunch is not on the same level, baby, as this at all. But I will say, if you are someone that loves Vital, you ride or die for Vital Seamless, but maybe you wish it was a little more flattering, you might really appreciate this. Just know it is shorter in length, okay? It's also shorter in the rise. So just matching up the shorts at the bottom, you could see the waistband does sit a little bit lower on me. So it is more friendly for those of us that have a shorter torso or we don't want our waistband to come up to our bra. So that is something I will mention as well. So I want to get into some measurements so we can actually see what these are looking like as far as sizing. But the waistband is coming in at 12 inches. It is 3 1/4 in like length for the waistband. The overall rise from the base of the waist to the gusset area is almost 6 inches, and the full rise is 9 inches. The inseam length, baby, that's looking like 1 inch. No, I'm just kidding, but dang near. It's showing up for 4.5 inches as the inseam on a size medium. So let's compare that to the Vital Seamless 2.0. So yeah, this one is a 5-inch inseam on the 2.0. The rise of the shorts is 10 inches overall, 3.5 inches for the waistband, and then 6.5 inches from the base of the waist to the center of the gusset. And then the overall width of the waistband is 13 1/4 inches. So it definitely is fitting a little bit smaller overall in the rise, the length of the waistband, and the inseam length. So whatever size you got in Vital 2.0, I think you could stick to the same size of the Sculpt. I definitely wouldn't size up though, because it is more stretchy in the body of the legging and not so stiff. I would also say this kind of feels hard. I don't know how to explain, but if you've tried Vital, it's definitely a stiffer fabric versus something like Adapt Animal, because this is a ribbed fabric. This isn't even, I don't know, it has this lining in the inside it's just thick. It's kind of stiff. It's less breathable of a material in my opinion. This has a very similar lining as the Vital 2.0. So you can see that. And then I also wanted to compare some of the coloring. The new blue that's coming out is most similar to the Whitney Animal Collection, the recent drop, just marled. So if you didn't like the crazy print, but maybe you loved this vibrant color, I think you guys would really appreciate the marling. Some of these colors are marled, some of them are not. So you will see the red that's coming out is solid. And then we also have a solid black. And there will be a marled gray that's also dropping alongside these three colors. So it just depends what you guys like. And I also wanted to just do a quick color comparison of the previous Adapt Animal Blue so you could see the differences there. And also we'll compare the new black that is solid to the marled 2.0. This was always giving like a dark gray, kind of like an ashy black, if you will. So I really love it they're doing solid black. It's kind of nice to have very dark, opaque, solid colors in this. I think the black is going to be everyone's go-to, such a staple, especially in the black leggings. So I love those. And then some red color comparisons to past reds that we've seen before. So this is the Carmine Red in the like Elevate Twist bra. They're definitely different. All of these are 4 different shades of red, which I love to see that Gymshark is getting more creative with their pops of color and their vibrant shades. So Carmine Red versus the new Vital. I don't know what the coloring names are as of right now, so I wanted to mention that. This is the Reps Red, which is definitely more of a burgundy shade. So, I mean, I would pair these two together. I think it's a really pretty contrast. And then this one is the Conditioning Red. This one's probably most similar versus Carmine Red. This one almost has some like blue undertones, but they are all different. I know it's hard to tell, but I posted photos on Instagram so you guys could see that. But I am loving the variety of the reds, and they really popped off with all of these. So I did want to kind of just show you guys how similar but also different they all are. And I just want to do some quick measurements for the leggings. Keep in mind I'm going to measure the inseam unstretched, but they are super stretchy, way more stretchy than Vital 2.0. So I will say I think these are great for long-legged girls. I feel like 2.0 Vital was kind of high waters on me, didn't have the most vertical stretch and like stayed in place versus the new Sculpt. And this one definitely has the same like tapering of the waistband, and I don't have any Vital seamless leggings to compare. I really haven't been the fan of Vital 2.0 leggings, so I kind of sold the ones that I had. But for the waistband measurements, it's 11.5 inches in the length and 3.5 inches for the width. As far as the overall rise from the top of the waistband to the gusset, we're looking at 9.5 inches. And the rise looks definitely a lot longer, so it's gonna sit more ultra high rise versus the shorts just from my eye, but I'll compare in a second. So that's 6 inches from the base of the waist to the gusset. And then the overall inseam length from the center of the gusset is 25 inches. So again, that's unstretched. So let me grab the shorts because I'm just noticing that it just looks so much more high rise to me. So the full rise is about 9.5, almost 10 inches actually. Yeah, you see that? My eyes don't be deceiving me. 9 inches on the shorts. So yeah, the shorts are going to be a little bit more lower on the rise versus the rise on the leggings. So definitely keep that in mind. I would definitely still say for sizing on the leggings, go with your same Vital seamless size. If in between, size up. And I do want to measure the length of the scrunch. It is looking like a 2-inch scrunch. 2.5 inches. It's very short, and it sits 2 inches away from the bottom of the gusset and 2 inches away from the top of the waistband. So that's very interesting. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of that scrunch, and everyone's gonna have their personal preferences. I just prefer a scrunch more like this. This one sits 2 inches, 2¼ away from the waistband, and the full length of this scrunch is 3¾ of an inch. And again, it basically sits 1/4 of an inch away from the gusset. So 2 very different scrunches. The inside of this scrunch, I'm not sure if I showed you, is a sewn in scrunch. So it is durable. It's definitely like one of those effortless scrunches where they are stitched in and basically you're not going to pop them, which I like scrunches like that. But I will say, if you size down and this scrunch is too tight, you might feel it, and or it might be hard for it to go in between the cheeks and stay there. Is it more flattering than the original Vital 2.0? Yes. That's why I'm saying if you loved Vital Seamless and you didn't mind that it gave you a unibutt, this is definitely a big upgrade for that for sure. But because the scrunch is in the middle, if you guys could see, I noticed that it pulls up the material from the bottom, and in turn it makes the rise even shorter, especially when you want to put and situate the scrunch in between where it needs to go, so it's not just sitting on top of your glutes and still giving you like a unibutt look with a scrunch in the middle. You need to pull the material in between to get that separation, but when you do that, you're taking away the inseam length. So for me personally, I find that the shorts are too short for my taste and my body proportions. I have a nice bit of glutes on me that really fill out this space, but I also have thicker thighs. That's why I'm saying if you are more slim, you have slimmer thighs, smaller glutes, you'll probably love this, especially if you're a shorter girl and you feel like you need some shorter shorts. Then these are definitely going to be for that type of a girl. But for me, I'm going to stick to Adapt Animal and pray that we get some more colors. And honestly, they need to do solids in the Adapt Animal like silhouette. That would really pop off, Gymshark, if you're watching this. So I wanted to kind of mention the differences there. The logo is a white printed on shark head logo, and just like the older Vital 2.0, they did like the subtle little contouring. Some of the colorways were more noticeable than others. This one is definitely more seamless. It's there. It's almost like a fake textural difference that kind of curves around the glute space. You could also see a little bit of the curvature here on the waistband, and this is a vertical ribbed waistband. The waistband is nice. It snatches me. It doesn't pull away from the body. I like that they did a more tapered look with this, and I think if you're looking for a thick snatching waistband, this is definitely going to be for you. And if you're wanting something a lot more stretchy and comfortable, something that you could really move in, have really great mobility going into your squats, doing your exercises, I think this would be great. But just know the inseam and the rise, overall everything is smaller with this short in comparison to the Vital Seamless 2.0 shorts. I also have the leggings in the red colorway as well. So I will also note these are far more stretchier in comparison to the Vital 2.0, as the material again is just so much softer. I really like the feel, the overall fabric feel of this new collection. It's definitely more wearable, where I don't feel like it is compressing my thighs. I felt like Vital 2.0, because that's what I just know to compare it to, it was stiff and hard at the same time, but with where it stretched out, and it just didn't fit me like a second skin, whereas this fits like a second skin. It kind of molds with your body, moves with your body, but it's also thick and durable. So I washed these guys 3 times back to back. I even put them in the dryer because I needed them to be dry for my review, and the wash and the dry process, amazing. No pilling, okay, and they're still very soft and they still look like new. The reason why I washed them back to back 3 times is they had, like, when they came out of the pack, I don't know if this was a me thing because I got these sent directly from the brand, or if it's just the material, I don't know for sure, but it had a factory odor to it that didn't wash out. So I washed it regular as I did with my normal Gymshark activewear, cold water, hang up to dry, and I was like, it has a funky smell. It was stinking up my beauty room, And I was like, what is that? And I smelled this and I was like, oh my god, it's the leggings. So I put them back in the wash. This time I added OxiClean and hot water, and then I put them in the dryer because I was going to film the review that day, and it still smelled. And I'm a smell person where I can't put something on that stinks because I don't like to stink. So I was like, I can't wear this. What's going on? So I Googled what to do about odor, and it said baking soda or vinegar, and I didn't have vinegar, I had baking soda. So I put them in the wash again the same day with like a half a cup of baking soda, hot water, set the machine on to pre-soak, and then run a load of washing, put it in the dryer, and that took the smell out. So I have to be honest about that. It had a little bit of a stench to it, and I don't know, it smelled kind of musty. And I've never experienced that with any of my Gymshark pieces. So I wanted to kind of mention that in case you guys maybe experience a similar thing. Now the leggings do have 2 logos on them, one on the bottom of the ankle. I kind of like the placement of this. And then there's also the shark head logo on the waist, like on the hip area. And these do have a little bit of a cinching here at the end of the leggings, but there is some stretch to it as well. So I will just note that when you put them on, it might be a little bit more snug, but very stretchy still at the seam area, or like the hem area. And the waistband also tapers in as well, just like the shorts do. Now the leggings are more high rise. Everything is a little bit bigger in the leggings versus the shorts. So there's a slight difference in the waistband here, as you could tell, maybe half of an inch. So the leggings sit higher rise on my body type. Again, I have a shorter torso, very long legs. So proportionally, I do like the inseam as it is very stretchy. It definitely stays pulled down on me, and you can kind of adjust it and play more with it versus the older Vital that came out. There is a gusset on the leggings, but the shorts don't have a gusset. So this one has like the diamond gusset, and the shorts have the 2 vertical seams, so you guys can see that. So those are like the differences between the leggings versus the shorts. And I also have the beautiful blue in the shorts that are coming out. Again, these are going to be marled. You could see the little contouring a little bit more on the blue colorway, whereas it's a little bit more seamless on the red. So it kind of carves out underneath the glute space to give you some more shape. I do really like that. The older Vital did the same thing. And then there's a textural difference here, almost like a little waffling on the waistband. So you can see that. And then it curves down into the contouring on the front as well. So nice stretch retention. The waistband thickness is the same as the older Vital. It's just more tapered. So if you felt like yours was more boxy and kind of stretched out on you, I think you guys are going to really like the improvements there. So I do prefer the leggings over the shorts. If I were to only pick one over the other, I would go for the leggings for sure. They just look better than the original Vital Seamless. They feel better on the body, and they just sit better as well, even with the back. And I can kind of have more material to play with as far as like shimmying the scrunch where it needs to go. But it is far better than what we've been given before. Black is also coming out in the same pieces. I really appreciate the solid dark black, so I wanted to give a little bit of a color comparison to the previous Vital Black, which really is more of like a dark charcoal gray, and of course it's heavily marled. So I think it would be nice to mix and match these pieces together if you already own, let's say, like some of the tops and maybe you want to try out the bottoms. I think this is going to be such a good staple. I could definitely see myself reaching for the black a lot, as it is solid. There's no marling, no crazy prints or patterns. It's truly a basic with a really nice waistband to it. And again, it has all the same features as the other pieces do. So the fabric of this new Vital Sculpt is a mix of 92% nylon and 8% elastane. Very slight differences in the makeup. They're both made in Jordan, so wanted to point that out as well. And of course there's going to be the leggings. I think are going to be such a go-to, like for a lifestyle piece, a traveling outfit, just like, oh, I'm going to Trader Joe's, let me throw on something really quick, put on a little hoodie, such a staple, and I really love, again, the solid black colorway. I think it's going to be clutch for cardio days, and also if you're on your cycle, this is going to be a great durable, thicker fabric. And I will say, if in between, if you're worried about sheerness, size up so you could see the punch through. This is me really pulling the material. So it is stretchier. I wouldn't say it's like a thin fabric. Definitely not like an everyday seamless, but on the outside it kind of has that slickness like everyday seamless, just a lot thicker. So if you want more of a opaque squat proof version, definitely consider going up in size if in between. So yeah, it could be a little scary. I've seen it on more pale people and it looks very sheer even standing, so be cautious of the black with that. Here's a little punch through on the blue with the marling. Not bad at all. I think black can just be one of those colors that's kind of iffy, and that's very interesting because you would think the opposite, right? And here's a little punch through of the red, and that's me pulling really hard. Also not bad. So I think the black is really the only one that I would be concerned about. I will do a punch through of the Vital Seamless 2.0 so you could see a difference. I never really felt like this was sheer. And this is a top, by the way. I'm really punching through. So I guess Vital Seamless had a little bit of a sheerness to it. That's as far as like the sheerness test of the material of this new Vital Sculpt. And in addition to the leggings and the shorts, there's gonna be an all-in-one, okay? I know this, I've seen it in red also be listed to come out. It is the same makeup as far as material. I got mine in a medium. I definitely think if in between, definitely consider sizing up, especially for the sheerness factor. But there is this ribbed paneling in the waist area. It's very thick. So I really like that. I think it's going to offer some shaping and some compression there, especially if you are a little insecure about your stomach like me. I think you're going to really appreciate that. The straps on this piece are adjustable, so I really do like that as well. It is a deep V neckline with the shark head logo as well on the chest area. This one does not have any inserts for bra pads, does not come with bra pads. You cannot put your own in here, so definitely keep that in mind. I do think that this material is thick enough where you don't need to really necessarily worry about that, so I wanted to point that out for you girls. And then this does not have a scrunch booty on the all-in-ones, so it has that same traditional faux seam to separate the glute space. And this one is again the solid color, but it has a very subtle, but it's there like dotting, just like the 2.0 does with the contouring effect. I also see that running down the leg area, like a slight textural difference. I know it's hard to see because this is black, so it is textured here at the bottom, very stretchy, and the leg opening has some stretch to it, and also they did the double logo there. So I just wanted to point the details out with this piece. I think this is a really fun all-in-one. I love Gymshark's all-in-ones. I think they do them really well, and I like this material in the all-in-ones. I have a lot of the Elevate ones, which is a thinner, slicker material. This one's definitely more durable, and I will say this fabric is the type of material that you can sit on the gym floor in, you can sit on your turf and stretch in. It's not going to pill up on you, especially with the washing process, as I mentioned, because I tested that out. So if you're looking for a durable, thicker material that you can wear on your cycle and not have to be concerned, this is that fabric for you. If you're concerned about cellulite, this is going to be a really good durable material for you, but still comfortable, kind of like an all day do everything type of material. You can wear for athleisure, running your errands, going to the farmer's market, day activities, whatever. Cardio in, I would go do cardio upper body sauna day in this all-in-one piece for sure. This is that type of a range, so I really like that they have a lot of different pieces. They're also coming out with flares. I don't have them, but I do know that they do not have the scrunch, and there's only one inseam length. So I wish I had them to review as someone with longer legs, but I will say I wish they did a short version and a tall version because flares can be a little bit tricky. So I can't comment on if they're going to be long enough or not because I just don't know. I love this piece. I think this is one of my favorites pieces. I have this actually in the black marl. That's this one right here. And it literally is like the same thing. This has like a higher mock neck design. Everything I have in this video, by the way, is in a size medium for the tops, the bras, the shorts, and the leggings. So for feel, these feel literally identical to the Vital Seamless 2.0 material. And that's because they are the same makeup of the original. So I love this color. I can see myself wearing this to warm up in at the gym, wear it for upper body day. In fact, I kind of want to wear it tomorrow with some sweatpants. I think if you're going to get anything, get this top, get this color. I think it is super freaking cute. I don't like to wear it zipped up all the way because it can be really snug on my neckline, but halfway, quarter zipped, it looks super cute. These zippers are the types of zippers that you can lock so that they don't continuously pull down. They have a rubberized tip on them with the Gymshark head logo on them. Really smooth zipper quality. Here for that. And of course they have the shark head logo on the chest. There's also a double logo on the back of the neck as well, and they have the thumb holes. I love Vital Seamless tops so much. I think I have the most tops of Vital Seamless. It's what I wear the most. They're great to mix and match with other collections across the board. And I personally like to sweat, so I like to wear more layers to the gym, especially for cardio days and stuff. I like the thumb holes in comparison to Adapt. The Adapt range doesn't really have that option, but I love that about these tops. And again, this is solid, so I feel like you can really maximize your gym girl wardrobe with pieces like this. If you want to do some cute color combos, you definitely can do that. And they're more versatile, I think, too. So I'm a big fan of this piece. I think it is probably my #1 piece that is coming out in the entire range for Vital Sculpt. And alongside that, they have these bras that will be dropping. Size up in these bras, please. I don't have much of a chest, but I do carry and store more fat in my back area. I do have a wider setback, I guess, and I have developed lats. But when your lats are not flexed, it can look like fat. So I don't ever want my bras, especially something that's more minimal in the back, to cut in and dig in, and then it looks like, ooh, you got like a big roll back there. So I would always say size up in this piece because you can adjust the width that sits around your waist. So I'd rather have the ability to maybe extend this piece but also wear it fully like snug than it to be too tight and then I'm wearing it on the biggest setting and it still fits and cuts in. So it does cut lower in the back and then it goes into like a bra strap material for this band, but also the straps here. They are like slightly brushed, so they are soft and not itchy, and you can adjust the length and the setting here as well. So I do like the options of that. There is a shark head logo here. This bra does not come with bra pads, but you can insert your own, so definitely keep that in mind. It is double lined, so I personally don't mind not wearing the cups. I don't wear cup pads most of the time. If you wear the minimal bra, then you already know the vibes, so I don't think you're gonna have any issues with sheerness. Definitely not in this fabric, but I really love this bra. It is shorter, so it works well with my proportions, and I think it looks really cute paired with the leggings. And most importantly, I love that you can adjust it. My only thing is definitely consider sizing up, even if you don't have much of a chest like me and you don't want this to be cutting or digging in. It also sits almost higher up on the back with this strap too. So if it's too tight, it might look like a hunchback situation and not be as comfortable. So definitely keep that in mind. I have it in the blue colorway as well. Super cute. And I think this would be a nice bra to wear with just the basic black leggings to add a nice pop of color. So I'll definitely be mixing and matching these together. So really good piece. Love the Vital tops. I think they always pop off with those. If I had to pick one outfit, what would I grab? It would for sure be this bra with the Sculpt leggings. Any of the leggings. I prefer the fit because obviously they're not cutting in, they don't roll. And I would also pair it with the jacket. If you're in between sizes for the jacket, definitely size up. Also size up in the bra. As you could tell, everything is a medium. There's no digging in my lats, no spillage when I'm relaxed, and of course you can just adjust it to your overall liking, and it just flatters my body. The leggings definitely sit a lot higher rise. Keep in mind my lower pooch is here, the waistband ends about here, so I'm not getting compression down here like I was with the shorts. So I do really love the solid coloring of this red. I also love how vibrant. It's definitely giving lifeguard red, which I feel is perfect for summertime, but I feel like these three pieces are giving that girl. It's definitely snatching me in at the waist. The scrunch is really nice on. It's still more visible than I feel in comparison to the Adapt Animal. Definitely has more of like a stretch to the material, and I do have some looseness in the rise. Again, I have a shorter torso, and I don't know that I would necessarily want to size down because it's still kind of tight on the thigh, but loose in the crotch area. So I've always had this issue with Vital Seamless personally. I think it's just my body type. The scrunch looks better on than just the flat lay, but also there's no unibum like the regular Vital Seamless 2.0. So I do feel if you love Vital Seamless, you will be a huge fan of the updates with this range. I think it's just stretchier overall and flatters the glute space. For me, the fit here is just, I don't know, it's not doing it for me. Even if I were to wear it low-waisted, where my actual waist cuts in, you know, I get that bunching, which personally I don't love, because with wear I do feel like it will stretch out, but the tapering of the waistband is so nice versus what it used to be. So those are my thoughts, my favorite pieces, and what I would pick up if I had to shop the launch all over again. Really like this bra though too. The short lining doesn't come up too high with the waistband, so really stinking cute. All right, you guys, that basically wraps up my review of the newest collection coming out at Gymshark, the Vital Sculpt. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, I will be sure to put all the details in the description box below for you guys. And of course, don't forget to get those savings with Lachey 10 at checkout to get 10% off of your freaking order, and it works all the time, not just on this launch, and it really does mean a lot to me and really allows me to be able to give you guys these reviews. So hopefully I can give some insight and be somewhat helpful for you guys when shopping, and it definitely does let the brand know that you guys find my content helpful as well, and it gives me the opportunity to do these types of reviews for you. So I'm forever grateful. If you guys do shop the launch or use my code anytime, please let me know so I can give you a huge thank you. I really do appreciate all of you guys for being here and watching my content, and even like watching whenever you're not even trying to shop, because that even means a lot to me too. So with that being said, I will see you girls in my next video. Bye.